Sometimes efforts go unnoticed, and unfortunately that's the case with the 5 games I'm about to show you right now. Number 1. Dicey Dungeons reminds me of Mario's RPG outings in the sense that the systems and number values are simple, but there's enough going on under the surface for it to be sophisticated. You'll select one of several playable dice before setting off on a turn-based killing spree in a corrupt game show. Kind of like Smash TV, except that it's drawn like every cartoon that's come out in the last 10 years. Basically, all of the moves you do are decided in one way or another by the dice you have on hand. It can be based on their exact number, whether they're even or odd, or whether they're below a certain threshold. The colors and presentation make this a hard game to take your eyes off of. Enemies just look funny. Add to that a decent soundtrack, multiple builds and characters, and it's an easy recommend. King's Way does stuff other games don't even think about. If you're like me and need a little bit more in your RPGs, it's not enough to just have a typical turn-based system or things we've seen many times over unless they're just done that well. You gotta mix it up a bit, and boy, does King's Way do just that. King's Way is a roguelike RPG filtered through the lens of a 90s window operating system. On top of managing your health and resources, you'll have to contend with moving windows, tab management, and an encroaching shadow that prevents you from just grinding till you can cakewalk the final boss. There's hidden classes, an unlockable hard mode, and several different endings that elevate this game above just a simple novelty. Please play this game. I'm probably going to do a video on it, and if you don't play it, I will know that you didn't, so be sure that you do. There's something to be said about games that are just fun to move around in. Mario 64, or even PS4's Spider-Man, it needs to feel good. Captain Flint Hook doesn't just feel good, it's got plenty of pirate ships to invade, unlockable perks, and multiple power-ups to keep you tided over. In the same vein as Dicey Dungeons, there's a nice lineless art style that makes it easier on the eyes than most games from beginning to end. Using momentum after a good swing to escape a swarm of enemies or get the jump on a space pirate is the most fun I've had in any grapple-based alien pirate spaceship roguelike. Ever. The environmental and enemy diversity could be better, most certainly, but you'll probably be having too much fun swinging around and blasting enemies from afar to care. Desktop Dungeons started off as a freeware game similar to Cave Story and Spelunky, but has since gotten an upgraded full-on release that helps it reach its potential. Have you ever felt a huge surge of relief because you just leveled up in an RPG and got all of your health back? Desktop Dungeons turns this into a mechanic. You have to think really carefully about when you're going to kill that level 1 enemy you've been holding off on to get the health surge in the middle of a tough boss fight, or when to explore uncharted areas of the map to regain health. Imagine if the highs and lows of Dwarf Fortress were condensed into fun 10-minute romps. Everything is a resource. You'll find glyphs that give you spells, items that give you stat increases, and even when you don't need those, they can be converted into other resources. If you're a dwarf and you don't need a certain item, you can convert it into max health, for instance. Definitely give this one a go. Desktop Dungeons deserves a lot more love than it's received. Wow, the only thing on this list that isn't a roguelike and the hardest game to rip myself away from to continue making this video. Channeling Super Meat Boy on the surface level, Dust Force is a momentum and speedrun focused platformer that wants the very best from you. The Dust Force community lauds the high capacity for mastery in its physics and controls. Saying this game has speedrun strats is an understatement. There's dash cancels, frame-saving moves, and timed button presses. Levels require a clean flow and elegance to complete with a double SS grade. To keep your combo chain going, you'll need to constantly be cleaning up and dealing damage while securing a breakneck pace to the finish. The zen-inducing soundtrack will entrance you, but the silky controls, high skill ceiling physics, and extravagant level editor will force you to give the game the attention it's been craving since release.